Can you guys hear us okay?
Thanks for telling someone, Cathy. Why am I echoing? Am I echoing to you, V?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. Well, it's echoing on my side. I don't know why. Okay. Hi, everybody. Oh my God. So on Periscope, when I talk to people and it's their first time doing a scope, the very first time it happened, Jay Stone was on one of my scopes. And she was like, "Oh, you're popping somebody's peri cherry." So every time I do it now, that's what we call it. So I've only been on two blabs. Uh, Vanessa, I was on yours, and then
Well,
I was on one with Tiny Chambers, but I've never hosted one. So what do y'all call blab virgins here?
uh, Blad virgins. I don't know.
Well, thank you guys
Blavirgin.
for joining.
You are a blavirgin.
I'm a virgin. Okay, we'll go with that. James, thank you for telling me no echo. Excited. I'm
Hey,
super
Gigi.
excited. And I left the seat open if anybody wants to jump in. I'm gonna
Welcome,
just start. Thank you guys for joining. I'm really excited.
welcome
If you could tell
everybody.
us where you're from. My
Tell me,
phone is not on, James. I'm just on my laptop. I don't know why I have an echo.
I don't hear an echo. You're good.
Okay. You
So
said close down.
Michelle, so Michelle, I don't know if you saw it or if I got to tell you, but I was actually on Cathy E. Smith's, who's on here, on her second anniversary of her radio show last
I
night.
know. I didn't hear the show yet. And James, you're right. I closed some tabs and it worked. Thank you. It's so incredibly small how small the world is because I just saw your post on Facebook that you were on Prime with Cathy.
Yes.
And and the funny thing is that she's on Bliss FM, which was the station that Ricardo and I hosted They Met Online on.
Oh,
And
I didn't
so Kathy
realize
and I were
that.
station mates
Bliss
and didn't even
FM.
know it. So congratulations, Kathy, on your second anniversary for the Prime Show on Bliss.fm. Congratulations, 2 years, right?
2 years, and we celebrated. It was absolutely phenomenal. The energy in that room was, you could just feel it and taste it and see it. It was just incredible.
That's awesome. I'm really excited. We podcasters have to stick together. Podcast power. All right. Well, my name is Michelle Talbert. Where are folks from? Where are you guys from? Is this what you do on Periscope? Periscope, we're like, where are you from? Tell us where you're from. Thank you for the big ups. What do y'all call those things? This is going to be interesting. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So this is going to be an interesting ride. But I do know enough to know how to talk to people. And this particular person in particular. My name is Michelle Talbert. I'm the host of the Her Power Hustle podcast, where inspiration meets motivation to empower you for the perspiration associated with being a woman entrepreneur. What that means is that I am all about finding ways for women entrepreneurs, our sister power hustlers, and some brother power hustlers who tune into, like James Oliver, who need help, resources, tools, information, motivation, inspiration, because being an entrepreneur is hard as hell. We all know this. And so we are in this together. I always say I'm in the trenches with you. And we are growing and we are expanding. And so Her Power Hustle started as a podcast in February. We launched, and I'm just so blessed and excited because it has just morphed into this amazing Her Power community. And that includes herpowerlist.biz, which is our newly launched startup that has a directory for women-led businesses. And so women entrepreneurs can have community, as well as we're doing marketing for you, pushing out your information. We have a Periscope live button. We don't have any blab buttons on there yet, but you can interact. You can download free chapters of Lister's books. It's an awesome research source that we're growing and really expanding and excited about. And as part of that, Her Power Plays, which is a weekly for the month of December series where experts like Vanessa Maddox, who I'm going to have the privilege to introduce, are able to share information, again, resources with an eye towards sharing information, resources, getting you the information that you may not hear anywhere else, and can open your world in a way that you may have never thought of, such as tonight, where we're talking about hosting and or speaking at your own TEDx event. So Vanessa Maddox, amazing, amazing, like the chief girlfriend in charge. We met, I don't know how many years ago now that it's been. It's been a lot of years, V. Vanessa Maddox and I both lived in the Washington, D.C. area before I moved down here to Miami. And just an incredible spirit. She is a champion for women. And I'm just so happy to have her here. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about her background so that you can get an idea for who she is. But it's so beautiful that just yesterday, 2 days ago, she posted one of our Facebook memories, which was me shouting out Vanessa's first TEDx event back in December of 2013. I still can't believe it's been 2 years already, V.
2 years already. It's incredible.
That's incredible.
It seems longer.
And so Vanessa is the girlfriend group on Twitter. If you tweet it out or want to tweet at her or hit her up on Twitter, and I'm Her Power Hustle on Twitter. I don't know how you guys like, if you share, tell little birds or whatever, let people know. But we're going to have a really great conversation. We're going to go as answer questions. Vanessa's going to really share some really great nuggets about hosting your own TEDx event, which is something that I hadn't even considered. And the next thing I knew, she was doing it. It's like, wow, you can host an event? Like, who would have even thought to do that? But Vanessa is an amazing, amazing go-getter. And so, Vanessa, tell us about yourself, please.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Michelle's first official blab that she's hosting. The first blab she was on, I actually tricked her.
She sure did.
And she came in like a pro. I mean, she got on there like she knew exactly what to do, what to say, how to act. And I just love people that take the bull by the horns and they're not scared and they just jump in and do their thing. So congratulations to Michelle. Her Power Hustle is and Her Power Biz is official startup. She is now a startup CEO. That is awesome. Somebody give her some high fives for that. That's incredible. I'm so proud of her. And Michelle, I'll tell you guys a little bit about the girlfriend group and the other things we're doing. But Michelle was one of the first 100 members of the girlfriend group Global Community for Women when we started 6.5 years ago. And that right there in a nutshell means a lot, because those women that signed on with us without even knowing quite what we were or what our mission was or what we were trying to do, those are our platinum charter members. And I'm rendered speechless when I think about it. But I want to congratulate her. I am her biggest fan, and whatever she needs, hopefully I can help her get it.
And vice versa. You know that.
Thank you. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Vanessa Maddox. I am the co-founder and chief executive girlfriend of the Girlfriend Group Global Community for Women. We were founded on August 22nd, 2009, after the untimely death of my sister, Valerie Patterson. Valerie was a single mother. She was a teacher for 35 years locally here in the DMV. And she was absolutely the rock of our family. She was the eldest. I am the youngest. So she was more like a mother due to the 16-year age difference between us. When Valerie passed, two things happened. One, our family was absolutely devastated. She left one daughter at age 30, Valencia, my niece. And the second thing that happened was that I went into an immediate, deep, dark depression for about 4 years. But the funny thing, well, depression is not funny, but ironically, I did not realize I was depressed because guess what? Women don't have time to be depressed, do we?
Right.
We have to raise the babies and take care of the home, and we have to work, and we have to launch businesses at the same time. I was more like a walking zombie, was really what I was. So my cousin, Naomi Williams, who is my co-founder, she and I sat on my couch one day in August 22nd, 2009, and we sat there for about 9 hours. At the end of the ninth hour, the girlfriend group was born, but we did not know what it was going to be. I could barely work, talk, shower, conduct myself in public because of my state of mind at the time. And oh, by the way, my father passed away 9 months before Valerie. And then my best friend, Sheila, passed away 2 months after Valerie from breast cancer. And we had known each other since the first grade. So I just want to give you a little background leading up to how we came to create our first TEDx. But the girlfriend group is, was, and always will be the foundation of whatever I do and those that work with me do. It's been the catalyst for everything that has come after it, and it will be the predecessor for everything that comes after it and before it. So let's fast forward a little bit. The girlfriend group started with 13 women. It steadily grew and grew and grew and grew, despite anything that I was doing. The benefit we had back then was that, fortunately, I had spent 20 years in the IT field in Fortune 500 companies. I've worked for global concerns. I've worked for the government. I've worked for Congress. And, it was incredible how fast the community grew. And I believe that it grew that quickly because of the network I had built prior to. And Michelle and I are going to talk about a little bit about community after this, after we take questions, and some of you will be welcome to jump into the empty seat. So one night I was up late, and if you all are even familiar with TED.com, TED stands for Technology, Education, and Design. And TED.com is a 35-year-old organization, and a bunch of smart people started it. And then when they started it, they started giving speeches and filming them and sharing them with the community. Well, it kind of took off. And as a result, this brand, which is, by the way, a nonprofit, and it operates out of New York City with a very, very small staff. That small staff runs the entire world for TEDx events. So I was up late one night, and up to that point, I've been a TED fan for years. And I was just tooling around on the website and found something called TEDx. And I thought to myself, what in the world is TEDx? And so I started digging a little deeper and found out that average Joes like me, who have an idea worth spreading, which is their tagline, can create their own TEDx event in your own community. Well, that was about 2 o'clock in the morning when I discovered this. I was sitting on the floor with the blanket over my head with my iPad so I wouldn't wake my husband up. And that night, it was October, I believe, of 2013. And it might have been earlier. And I sat up that night to about 3:30 in the morning filling out my TEDx application. I filled it out the first time. I forgot that their page times out, and it deleted my entire first application. So, needless to say, yeah, it was rough that night. So I started all over again. This time, I typed in my application in Microsoft Word and then transferred it to the TEDx site. And I submitted. And after I hit that submit button, I thought to myself, what in the world did I just do?
And
I
you
had
created,
no idea.
you created TEDx Boss Drive Women. So when you submitted, did you know that it would be a women-centric event, or what did you actually submit as your original idea, your platform?
Actually, before I submitted, I had done some research on it and found out that in order to host a TEDx event, unless you have special permission, you have to do it in conjunction with a global TEDx event.
Okay.
So at that time, it was the TEDx Women Global event that was coming up. So when I submitted my application, I knew that I would have to host our event within the time frame that TEDx mandates for the TEDx Women Global event.
Okay.
If anybody has ever been involved with TEDx, their rules are so stringent. I mean, down to the coloring of the red carpet on the stage, the size of the TEDx letters you make, what your TEDx is called. I mean, they literally will not assign you a name until they go on Google Maps and make sure that you live or work where you say you live or work. And it is such a daunting process. And I guess I was so excited at the time that I didn't realize what a big job we were about to undertake.
That's exactly, I think, Talisha, does that answer your question? Because Talisha just asked, are there recommendations for topics for submissions? So you're saying, Vanessa, that they need to coincide with a global event. So in your case, you did it under the umbrella of a TEDx Women global event that was coming up in timing, right?
That is correct. And the other thing that one of the other TEDx rules is that once you submit your application, one of the questions is, what topic will you speak on? And this is one of the harder parts because your topic has to be multi-dimensional. You cannot have a single topic. For instance, you cannot come on and talk about women in tech. Too broad. They want you to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. So you can submit 15 titles and they will reject 15 titles if they feel that your subject matter is one-dimensional.
So that's title within the platform, or is that title of the overarching event, right? Because you have an overarching event and then you have different speakers that speak for up to 12 minutes or something like that each. So is it the title of the event that you're saying?
Yes. So now this is just picking the title for your event.
Okay.
This isn't even talking about what the speakers themselves are going to talk about, because whatever title you choose is going to determine the overall subject matter that the speakers will speak on.
So you say it should be narrow and then but still within that global category.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And since we were involved with the TEDx Women group, it had to be about women, of course, but it had to be multidimensional, where we are talking about several topics that apply to women and why it's important.
Okay.
And I think I had to go back at least a half a dozen times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, mind you, this was probably late summer when I discovered TEDx, and the event was December.
Exactly.
So they really don't care how long it takes you to choose a title.
But they let you keep coming back.
Excuse me. They let you keep coming back. until they feel you've got it right.
Wow.
So that's the challenge.
So what made why'd you do it in the first place? So what was it? I know you found the website and it looked interesting, but what made you say, you know what? I'm going to host, not I'm going to go speak at a TED Talk. I'm going to host a TED Talk. What made you, what was that? What was that thought process, and why should other people consider hosting a TEDx talk?
Yeah. Well, and this is the reason, and my partner Daphne wanted me to speak at the one we're considering having next year. I haven't made a decision yet, but the reason why I wanted to host is because if you're hosting, you have ultimate control. You have ultimate control over who your speakers are, the subject matter, the flow of the event, who's going to be at the event, who, what the overall impact will be. And at the time, the real reason why I decided to apply, and I hadn't even told anyone, no one knew, but the reason why I decided to apply is because I felt at the time that the girlfriend group needed a huge jolt. We needed something big to propel our brand. Mm-hmm. And what bigger than TEDx? Hey, Robert Stern, welcome.
Hey, Robert Stern. Wow, I'm so used to seeing him on Periscope.
Yeah, he's the dude. He's the dude around these parts. So that's really why I did it. Now, I want to, full disclosure, everybody. Yeah, I applied for a TEDx license and I went through the process of organizing it, but I had no idea what I was doing, right, or how I was going to pull this thing off. But all I knew was that there was fire in my gut and that I wanted the members of the girlfriend group all around the world to be known and for our mission and our vision to be known as well.
And so I just took a picture and put it on Instagram. So what did it do for your brand to align yourself with TEDx? Because it sounds like, I know they're staffed very lean out of New York. And so aside from them giving you the license once they finally approved the topic and the title for the overarching program, what other kind of support did they give you? And then how did that propel your brand once you went ahead and decided to move forward with hosting?
Well, after we finally got our license, and we literally got our license 2 months before the event was supposed to happen, I was sweating bullets.
Wow.
So I had to calm myself down and start thinking about who was going to help me pull this thing off. So I didn't have to think too hard because I had already built a network and it was phenomenal. So I just looked inside my immediate circle and thought to myself, who's going to help me do this? And the reason why your tribe is so important is because if you're even considering taking on something as monumental and huge as hosting a TEDx event, the first thing you need to think about, who is gutsy enough, talented enough, smart enough, and trustworthy enough to take this ride with me. If you cannot think of a minimum of 4 people, don't do it.
Wow.
Don't do it because you will kill yourself. So yeah, does that answer the question?
It does. It does. And so you did an overarching theme. What was the actual title that you ended up with?
So the title ended up being Women 4.0, Taking Our Place in the Future. Oh. And I think we had another subtitle.
Okay.
And the reason why I titled it 4.0 is because, ever since this 1.0, 2.0 business started, I was like, what exactly is that? Right? So I decided, well, I don't know what the next number in the series is, but I'll go ahead and choose 4.0.
And it worked, of course.
It worked, right? I thought
When
it
in
was cool.
doubt, pull something out of your ear.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So when someone else is considering doing this to propel their brand, I just want to go forward for a minute. What types of number one, revenue are you able to generate? And number two, what did it actually do to benefit your brand? What can you point to that was concrete that this came because we had a stage that I put together, and this is a direct result of that relationship with putting those red letters on a stage.
Right, right. Well, after I gathered about 4 women from my network and from the girlfriend group, the first thing we had to think about was how we were going to pay for this thing, right? Now, if you know anything about the TEDx rules, you can charge admission for your TEDx. However, you can only invite a limited number of people to a TEDx, which is 100. So now, depending on how you can secure a venue, a videographer, a photographer, someone to live tweet, do social media from the event, you really have to do your due diligence and study the rules, because if you step out just an inch, they will knock you back and then you have to start over. So we had to secure sponsors, we had to secure a videographer, we had to secure a photographer. And basically what I did was that I just reached back into my network, called folks up, and as soon as I said TEDx, they said, I'm in.
As soon as you said Vanessa, first of all, they took your call because it was you. Let's start there. And I mean, that's what you said at the top of the show, which was, tribe matters, community matters, getting the word out, even if people couldn't be there. Like, I couldn't be there, but I damn sure supported you guys and made sure that the word got out that you were doing this, because it is so important that you can reach into a community that you've built over the years with goodwill, and be able to now pull something together in such a short period of time. So that's a big part of it, is making sure that you have not just those 4 people. The 4 people are super important, but I think having tribe and people, the videographers and the venues and all of that you can tap into is equally important as well, right? I wouldn't say that this is an undertaking for somebody that's super solo at this point, right?
Well, I wish I could take the credit and say it was my glowing personality that got all of these people to come on board. And
Yvonne, if he was here, he would say it was you.
He would. I would like to say it was my, sparkling personality, but what I feel it was just people that know the brand, know how impactful and powerful it is, right? So I didn't have to even tell them what the subject matter was. They said, Vanessa, I'm in. What do you need to do? So basically, everyone on our team worked for free. They did. And so when it came time to get a venue, this is a cool story. So Daphne McQuarter, who is a girlfriend group member, and she and I created, she was very integral in helping us pull off this first TEDx. And she was living nearby where, in the neighborhood where we had to name our TEDx. So Balch Drive is actually a street in our community. That's where Balch Drive comes from. Okay. So Daphne was actually living on Balch Drive at the time. And we were talking, I was like, well, we don't have any money, right? And she was like, yeah. I said, well, we need to find someone that's going to give us a venue for free. And she's like, Vanessa, I don't even know anybody here. How are we going to do that? I said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. So there's a local movie theater in our town in Leesburg, Virginia. And so my husband and I literally go to the movies every weekend. So we were like Norm and Cheers. You guys remember Norm? Every time Norm would walk into
Norm.
Cheers, they would say, Norm. Every time we would walk into the movie theater, they say, Vanessa and Roger, that sort of thing. So I knew the general manager of the theater, and Daphne knew him from because he lived in her building. So all of this was coming together, right? So one day I walk into the theater, and he calls, Herb is his name. He calls me Troublemaker. He said, hey, Troublemaker, what are you doing? I said, Herb, I need a favor. He said, what? I said, I need you to lend me one of your theaters. He was like, what? What are you talking about? And so I started explaining what we were doing. He says, oh, Vanessa, I'm going to have to charge you $500. I said, okay, Herb, I'll come back and talk to you later. Mm-hmm. So I gave it a couple days, and I went back up to the theater. I said, he's going to give us this theater for free. So I went back up there, and I said, Herb, listen, I just want to explain to you the magnitude of what we're trying to do. If you gift this theater to us, we will promote your theater and your brand out the wazoo so much that everybody is going to want to come to your theater. He's like, Vanessa, whatever, $500. I said, okay, Herb. So I came back a couple days after that. But before I went back the third time, I called Daphne. I said, Daph, Herb lives in your building. You need to just appear in the hallway one day and start talking about TEDx. So I think she did that or something else. But before I knew it, we had the theater, 250 seats, right? I can't even tell you. But let me just say this to everyone on this blab. If there is something you want to do, you will not let anybody stop you from doing it. Period. No excuses. Fire in your gut. You don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. How many people do you think told me, Vanessa, TEDx, please, that'll never happen. Come on. So, and that just gives me energy. That just makes me want to do it even more. So we got to theater. We got a photographer. As a matter of fact, we got one of the best photographers on the East Coast to do our event. We got a videographer, and we got volunteers to help us man the welcome table and greet guests and all of that. So you want to talk about speakers?
Yes, I was also going to ask, does anyone have any questions as well? And
I want somebody to jump into this open seat and ask me questions.
I know Robert, I was just telling him, because I know Syracuse was seeking speakers last, like 2-3 weeks ago. I know for sure, because one of my friends spoke there last year, and she was telling us to register for this year as speakers. So definitely getting registered on TED.com. I know that Vanessa had me make sure to register myself on TED.com so that you can, number one, get the emails that they send out to the community, as well as search and see what talks are coming up. I have a friend who spoke down in the Caymans a few months back as well. So there are always TEDx events that you can apply to speak. So that is something to keep in mind.
So now keep in mind also that once you are a TEDx host or speaker, you know, the whole world of TED and TEDx opens up to you, and you are exposed to all that TEDx is. Bless you.
Sorry about that.
Bless you. And so the portal that all facilitators or hosts get access to, I mean, it's unlike anything I've ever seen in my entire career. It's just phenomenal. And you have access to people that you normally would not have outside of this kind of brand, right? So if there's anyone on the blab that wants to get in contact with me to ask me specific questions after this call, we'll share my contact information, and I'll be happy to take your questions.
Also, Vanessa, we did have one question of the talks.
I'm sorry?
There's the length. What's the maximum time limit?
Well, that's a good
Isn't it
question.
like 12 minutes or something like that? Like no more than
Oh,
12
you mean the length of time for the talk itself?
per person, yes.
Yes, 12 to 18 minutes.
Okay, 12 to 18. Okay.
Right. Now, let's talk about speakers. So, this is another really daunting process in the TEDx world. So, originally, we were supposed to have 6 speakers max. Well, when I started talking about, having this thing online, particularly on Twitter, I mean, my phone was blowing up. Oh, I want to speak. I want to be a TEDx speaker. But my concern was, TEDx, the X, by the way, folks, stands for community. So I was not planning on going outside of my immediate community for speakers because we have such tremendous talent right here in the DMV area. And I also wanted to focus on people that I admired, that I have admired for years, that I would love to promote and see on a TEDx stage. So that's what I did. I reached back and invited, I don't know how many people I invited, but I was intentional about it. And, once we filled 6 slots, my phone kept ringing. I was like, well, and, I said to, the team, I was like, what are we going to do? This thing is potentially going to be huge. And so I don't know how it happened. I really don't. But we ended up with 11 speakers. 11. And I don't know. It making me speechless just thinking about it.
No, and I think you had amazing speakers. Obviously, near and dear to my heart are Vicki Johnson and Yvonne are both near and dear to my heart. They were speakers at your event, and it was just an incredible event because I was tracked by Twitter. And it was just, really important, the stories that were shared, and talk about the fact that you had an event for quote unquote Woman 4.0, but E spoke. Talk to us about E's talk. And about sort of, I guess, and more broadly for people who are joining us, if they are getting into a topic, to think creatively and not necessarily be narrowly focused on, well, it only can be women, even if it's a women's topic. Hi, Cathy. Thanks for joining. So can you just talk a little bit about E speaking as a man on the stage during a women's event?
Well, there's another story behind how myself and Abong met. That's a topic for another blab. But Abong was referred to me by a mutual friend who thought very highly of him as well as thinking very highly of me. And she called me up one day and she said, you need to meet this guy. And I was like, what? And she's like, don't worry about it, just meet him. And the rest is kind of history from there. That's another story. But the reason, he was excited. I don't think he even cared that it was a bunch of women.
Right.
I don't think he cared that it was called TEDx Women, right? He knew the magnitude of the TED brand. He had been a fan as long or longer than I was. And he was just excited for the opportunity. No pretense, no ego, nothing. And that's why I love him dearly.
And so Cathy E. Smith, my prime show podcasting sister on Bliss.fm, how are you? Welcome to my first blab, my Blavirgin time. So tell us, what brings you to the seat?
I'm connected to both of you.
You are.
Not only was Prime Show, but Michelle and I, recently participated in a phenomenal 30-day challenge.
With our girl Carol Sankar, who tried to kick our
Yes,
behinds.
yes.
And Gigi too. Get to
Powerful.
this
That's
noble.
all you can say about that. Powerful. That experience. Just change your mindset. Okay, so I said two things about it instead of just one, but it was phenomenal. Um, I want to ask you now, Vanessa, you were saying how you research and you just came across it. Thank you for breaking down what TEDx means. I just always knew it was important and a powerful event, but you broke down what actually it means. So
Right.
thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So when in your research, were you searching for something for tribe building? Were you searching for something to add to the girlfriend group, or were you just, how did you come across it?
Well, that night I was really searching for something that would help put us on the map. And
Mm,
before I ran into TEDx, I did not know what that big something was going to be, but I wanted it to be huge. So
yes.
yeah, it needed to be monumental, right? And so I think God heard my prayer in terms of what we needed to do. And on a personal note, I really wanted something big and impactful that would help me come out of that depression I was in. I was
Mm,
trying to help myself come out of that after losing my sister. So it just really came together that way.
so it was motivational and inspirational to you, and I guess the stringent process helped. You had something else to focus on, I guess.
Well, yeah, I think it was that by that time I had been back to work for a while. The kids had their activities, things of that nature, and I was really, really uh, shock and awe about how fast the girlfriend group was growing. So, you guys have to remember, I'm married, kids, full time, stressful job. Now I got TEDx, and I have to think about my health as well. So, before you undertake possibly doing a TEDx, you need to look back and consider what your current lifestyle looks like, because it is going to take over every aspect of your life for several months. So don't go into it thinking, oh, I'm just going to throw this little TEDx thing. No, not in the league. And I really enjoy doing periscopes and blabs about TEDx because, first of all, there's still people on the planet that don't know what it is. And,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
also, there are still people on the planet that don't know the magnitude and what it takes and what goes into hosting one. Now, the folks that have the easiest jobs, in my mind, in a TEDx event are the speakers.
Them in the
And
audience.
and so A Bong, yeah, maybe the audience, but A Bong and the other speakers may not think that their job was terribly easy. But basically all they had to do was show up and talk, you know? So no, I'm just teasing them. It is an incredible undertaking. They have to practice, practice, practice. They have to be aware of the subject matter, be aware of the brand, be aware of all the rules. And so, it's just huge. But let me tell you, it other than the birth of my children and me getting married, it was the most fulfilling, outstanding, huge, scary, terrifying thing I've ever done in my career. And I hope to do it again one day.
It's a life changing. Now,
Life changing.
don't talk about it like it's like far away. You said hope to do it again.
Well, I haven't decided. So they just announced their dates for 2016, and it's the week of October 24th. They've only announced the dates. They have not announced the logistics, and probably will not do so until January. So I have some time to decide. I just haven't, because October 2016 is a really special month for me. I'm turning 50. And I don't know if I want to spend my birthday running a TEDx.
Right? This is true.
So I'll think about it over the holiday.
Okay.
Question from Scope Scribe to Alicia. She said, "What advice do you advise for aspiring TEDx speakers?" I know, like I said, my friend Karima did the one in the Cayman Islands. I think it was the Cayman Islands a couple of months back, and they had very serious, like, classroom experience with teaching them the techniques for talking and speaking. And what did you find as well, Vanessa, in terms of ideas and thoughts for aspiring TEDx speakers? Was that something that TEDx does on its own, or do they do it through you as a coordinator of the event? Because I know that they had literally classroom instruction in DC before they even went down to do the talks.
Yeah, there are a couple people in the DMV area. I don't know all of them, but the one that's widely known is Jan Fox, who used to be a news reporter locally in DC. Jan has branded herself as a TEDx coach.
Okay.
Yeah, and so she carved out a really great little niche for herself in teaching TEDx speakers how to become TEDx speakers.
Okay, so that's private. People pay out of pocket then to do that.
Oh yeah. They pay a nice little pretty dollar
Sure.
to learn how to become a TEDx speaker, because it's unlike any other stage you'll ever stand on. So you want to be sharp and clear and dynamic, and you want to make sure that your presence is felt while you're up there.
Why is it different than any other stage?
I think it's different because of the organization itself. I think it's different because, the Bill Clintons and the Sheryl Sandbergs and the Zuckerbergs and, the Kofi Annans and, all of these people have stood on a TED or a TEDx stage. So when you think of the magnitude of who has been on those stages before you, you want to come with it. You don't want to be sloppy, right?
Right. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining us. This is Her Power Plays with Vanessa Maddox of the Girlfriend Group, and we have Cathy Smith of the Prime Show. Cathy, what's your is it the Prime Show on iTunes and Stitcher? Where can people find your podcast?
They can go to iTunes by entering Prime, but the word entering a period in between each letter of the word Prime, and just go to the website by going to bliss with one s.fm/Prime.
And I am Michelle Talbert, host of the Her Power Hustle podcast and founder of herpowerlist.biz. So thank you all for joining. We are talking about TEDx, about hosting your own TED Talk, TEDx Talk, and also about being a speaker. So for those of you joining, if you have any questions, please do jump in the seat, send us a question, let us know what your thoughts are. Vanessa's been sharing really great information. The other piece is that we said at the top of the show that if you have questions about building community, both my Her Power Hustle, Sister Power Hustlers on Facebook, and Vanessa's Girlfriend Group community, we are tribe builders extraordinaire. If I do say so myself, we are able to answer any questions that any of you have about thinking about building tribe community, rallying people around your brand, right? Because that's a big part of what Vanessa is saying led to her success and being able to pull off this event, especially an event of this magnitude in such a short period of time and doing it for the first time, right, was all possible because number one, she's a badass, but number two, because she had a tribe to pull from. So if any of you have any questions about building tribe or thoughts about creating a Facebook group, or, you know, the girlfriend group started on Ning, right? I remember when we were on Ning.
Yep.
So, you know, if you have any of those kinds of questions as well, please feel free. Also, I think if you put /Q when you're sending a message, it'll pull it over, as you guys can see, like Scope Scribe's question is there, and that way we can really see it. I won't miss your questions. If you can put /Q before you actually ask your questions, that'll help us put it into the queue. No pun intended. So thank you. So for those of you just joining, welcome.
So Michelle, I want to go back to Scope Scribe's question because I really didn't answer it. I kind of went off on a tangent, which I tend to do. But she asked, what advice would you advise for aspiring TEDx speakers? I think the first thing I would say to an aspiring TEDx speaker is start speaking. Start speaking everywhere. Practice your craft. Get your message out there. Speak for free wherever you can. If you're just starting out or whether you've been speaking for a while, find opportunity to speak in public. Go to your network. Write blogs about it. Let people know what your platform is and what you're talking about. That is really going to prepare you ultimately for the TEDx stage. I would also recommend that you build a network before you take on TEDx. Mm-hmm. It is so important that you have a support system behind you before you do this thing, whether you're a host or a speaker. Because if you're a host, you're going to need it anyway. But if you're a speaker, you want people to come to your TEDx, right? So you need to build that community. Community is vitally important.
So I wanted to ask you just to follow up, because you didn't answer my question either, about branding. Tell me about how it expanded your brand to do the hosting of the event. How do you feel that it impacted your brand directly to have hosted this TEDx?
Well, first let me talk about what it did for the people involved, and then I'll come back to myself. All of the vendors, the speakers, you know, they came to me after the event and they were like, I have never received so many phone calls and tweets and Facebook messages and emails since, you know, we've been involved with your event. I mean, the impact was immediate. I'm talking about the next day. It was apparent that had happened the night before. In terms of the girlfriend group brand, the next day, I didn't even answer my phone. And 2 days later, when I went to check my messages, it was phone calls from all over the globe. I mean, I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. And these were people that not only wanted to know how in the world we did it, but they wanted to know, how did we get that caliber of speakers to speak at an event like that? They wanted to know, why weren't they invited to be a speaker? And some of them wanted to know, how come I wasn't in the house? Well, you did not respond and you did not buy a ticket. I guess that's why you weren't in the house. But 6 months after that TEDx, my phone had stopped ringing. I mean, if Abong was here now, he would tell you the impact it had on him. And those other speakers, they can tell you the impact that having TEDx speaker behind your name on social media, what that does. And he says Abong says he's still getting reverberation from that, and it's been almost 3 years.
We have another question from Janelle. Are there some TED stages that carry more weight than others, or do they all carry equal potential for content influence?
Well, they're more high profile stages. I would say the international stages are more high profile. Of course, the New York stage is just phenomenally huge, but I would not put a weight on any TED or any TEDx stage whatsoever. Just to have your brand or yourself associated with TEDx, I mean, it's just life changing. There are several TEDx organizations within the DMV, and if we decide ultimately to have one next year, I'm going to invite all of our TEDx neighbors to attend our event because it's all about community. And they were invited to the first one. Some of them showed up, right? So it's all about pulling people in, making them aware of your brand, getting them to know who you are and what your mission, goals, and vision is. That's the key to this whole thing. There are a whole bunch of rules you have to follow, a whole bunch of TEDx rules you have to follow, but ultimately, it's still about ideas worth spreading and community.
And the great thing for folks, sorry, Cathy, the great thing for folks is that it's on YouTube as well, right? So you live on forever on the TEDx YouTube channel. And that's a big deal because people search those channels all the time looking for ideas for spreading. And really, when you can search a topic, and because it's TEDx, it's going to rank higher and be found faster. So that also has, a great impact on your brand as well.
Yeah, and if you all search on TEDx Balch Drive or even search on my name, it's going to come up at the top of Google, and you'll be able to look at all of the videos on my YouTube channel of all of our speakers, and it was just phenomenal. And I encourage anyone, if you are considering doing this, talk to me offline first, okay? If you're considering doing this, I'm going to tell you exactly how I did it, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Because if you decide to do this TEDx thing, it's going to change your life, but it's going to disrupt your life as well.
Thank you, Janelle. Thank you for that question. Cathy, what was your question?
Oh, a question and comment. Then I'm gonna hop off. But I mean, I'm still gonna be watching, but I'm gonna hop off. Vanessa, this event, if you are a speaker, not only for you as an organizer, but it could change the trajectory of your brand and your exposure. So, for people who did know about it before hopping onto this lab, it is definitely something to consider. And then the second thing is if you decide to have it again, are you going to focus on women or women again only, or you don't know?
Well, a couple months ago, we were throwing around some ideas, and my gut feeling, if we decide to do another one, is that I want to focus on women and building community. Because that's not only something that TEDx would be interested in as a subject matter for TEDx, that's a subject matter for life, right?
What?
And
anti-housewife.
Yeah, that's a subject matter for life. And women are natural born community builders. The Girlfriend Group's mission is women helping women in all aspects of life. And believe me, girlfriends, we got a long way to go before that tagline is apparent all over the world. Women as a gender, we got some work to do, sisters.
Here's what I have to say about that, because Vanessa, that's why I love that her Power Hustle and the Girlfriend Group go way back, like 4 flats on a Cadillac. Because if you look at TV, you see these housewife shows and you see these shows that make it seem like we're all so catty and we're pulling each other down. But you and I and our communities that we have and the communities we've blended and the communities we're parts of. I mean, Cathy and I, right? We got our Bliss family going. I mean, it's just like, I didn't even know you two knew each other. It's just, that's how that works. And I think that we are actually the norm, and the cattiness just gets the ratings, right? So I'm so excited to always be able to shine a spotlight on the impact that we have as women together. How many Sister Power hustlers and girlfriend group members are in the comments right now typing, they're here supporting us, and we are not in competition. Right. It's about collaboration. It's about helping each other, even though we occupy the quote unquote same space, right? I mean, it's like, it's so important that we understand this message and make sure this message gets out there. Let's talk about it. Yes.
Well, let me say something about something you just said, Michelle, about women and how we're perceived, right? I can't type and talk at the same time, apparently. I'm typing my email for you, Scope Scribe, so you can.
Oh, I could have done that.
So, let's just talk about a minute about women, how we relate to one another. As the co-founder of a global women's network, I cannot tell you guys what I've seen over the last 6.5 years. Not just the last 6.5 years of running the girlfriend group, but the last 25 years of being a woman in male-dominated industries. Okay, Cathy, I'm not going to get on my pulpit about that. Let's go ahead and skip that subject. But what I want to say about women in general is that we have to learn that not everything on this planet is about competition with one another. Okay? I posted on Instagram a couple weeks ago that I don't have any competitors on this planet. I don't. All I have are collaborators and partners, because the girlfriend group doesn't have any competitors. VR Matters Consulting doesn't have any competitors, because no one can do what we do.
Word.
No one can do what we do, what we do. I don't even know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
No, it's true.
Right? So if you don't have competitors, that means the whole world is open to you. If you're not paying attention to what everyone else is doing on the planet and on Facebook and on social media, look what you can do.
Absolutely.
When I was sitting on my floor filling out that application, I thought the world had opened up to me when I hit submit, and it did. And I didn't give it a second thought. But not everyone can be like me. But I encourage people to be fearless in whatever you're doing. Don't let anybody talk you down off that mountain, right? And keep going. But the important thing for women to do in particular is ask for help. Ask for help, ladies. We are not super women, and we are not trying to be super women. Everybody needs a tribe. Everybody needs help. So that, those are the pieces of advice. Well, I don't give advice, I give tips. Those are the tips I would like to drive home, because women in general, we carry the weight on our backs, and that has to change.
And it's important to build a community, or just be embrace one another. Just think, you didn't know, Michelle, that Vanessa and I knew each other. So I just think so many times people just don't treat each other well, and you don't know who knows who. So if you're just good to everybody, then you don't have to worry about that.
Absolutely. Be nice to everybody you meet, because you never know who they know.
Absolutely.
Well, be nice if you're nice to me, but if you're not nice to me, I can't. I'm just being weird. But yes, I agree.
Don't make me laugh. I'll start choking.
But seriously, the world is very small. The world is small. I mean, it's huge and small, right? It's funny because I actually am right now listening to the book Blue Ocean Strategy, right? And it's talking about creating these markets, being in expansive space and not being in shark infested water where everybody's grabbing at the same piece of bloody meat, right? And so, it's true that the world is very big, but I do believe that social media has made it possible for us to interact and overlap to the point where I don't remember if I've met someone in person first or met them online first. And it's just this very fluid connectivity that goes on regardless of geography. You're finding people who are all connected and interconnected. And, Talisha and Taj Cosmetic and, Gigi's on here. I mean, look how many people we have going up and down the messages even that are overlapping. I'm like, wait, how did you know? Gigi and I are in a totally different ecosystem. And that's exactly what's happening. We have these overlapping ecosystems. So I do agree, you never know who knows anyone else. But what's awesome about that is that you have an opportunity to do something good and have that reverberate, right? Because people are talking about you don't even know it. And it's like, wow, you know Vanessa? Oh, wow, yes, I know Vanessa. She's awesome. So now you have all this branding that's going on your behalf, and you don't even know it. And I think that's the flip side of it, that people are missing that point. It is great. Don't be mean to people, but also, hey, be great to people because they're going to be your biggest advocate out. When Taj Cosmetic is somewhere, I can hear her talking about me, and it's in a good way. She's like, you gotta hang out with Michelle. And that's wonderful to be able to create that sense of community and never forget that we are all interconnected one way or another. It will come back around.
Yes. So I'm going to put people on the spot, and I'm going to thank you all for letting me be on. But Taj or Gigi, if someone wanted to get on and ask a question, I'm going to pop off. But thank you.
Cathy.
Bye,
Thanks
Cathy.
for jumping in. So Vanessa, you can answer Janelle's question now, though, in terms of speakers helping to promote. And if anybody wants to jump into that open seat, please do. You just have to press the button to join, and then I can go ahead and approve you so you can come on in and be on screen. No need to be shy.
Now, don't be shy because I did not wear makeup tonight. I'm perfectly fine.
I have no makeup. I think I have Vaseline on my lips, which Taj Cosmetic Jim is always yelling at me. She has some amazing lip colors. And
I need to know about this Taj Cosmetics. I need to know more about her because I am an anti-makeup girl and I really don't want to be. So maybe
she hooks me up. She hooked me up with some beautiful lip colors that I do not have on my lips right now. I'm sorry, June.
Well, maybe she can tutor me on that, right? So
absolutely, yeah, she's awesome.
So Janelle, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. She asked, do speakers get to help promote the TEDx event, or is there some other way they can help support the success of the event? Absolutely. Once we started signing up the TEDx speakers, they were immediately requested to promote the event. I actually gave them some of the TEDx branding pages or whatever you call it for them to make their flyers with and their e-flyers and put it on their Facebook and their Twitters and their other social media channels. And I believe if we hadn't started doing that or hadn't pulled them in at the very beginning, we would not have had a standing room only crowd in that theater that day. It was just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, so involve your speakers from day zero in your event.
Do we have any other questions? Thank you guys for sharing. So appreciated.
Any other questions?
We're all related, Stacy. I totally agree. As Native people say, you're all related.
Before my voice goes all the way out, does anyone want to jump in the open seat and ask a question?
Yay, this was really awesome. I think we're going to wind it down. So Joyce Kyle, this was her first ever blab.
Yay,
Stacey,
Joy!
this is the first time I'm meeting you. Thank you. Janelle, all my sister power hustlers in the place to be. Thank you guys so much for being here. I think Robert Stern probably jumped off. Gigi, Cathy, oh my gosh. And, just everybody, Jackie, June, Talisha, Scope Scribe is phenomenal.
Scope
Just
Scribe is
amazing.
awesome. I love her.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for being here. We really super appreciate it. And her power plays is actually Scope Scribe. I did the first one. So what this is, as I mentioned, her power plays is a free resource, an included resource for members of the herpowerless.biz community, which is an online directory for women-led businesses. It's a directory like no other. We have incredible ways for you to interact with potential clients, to be found by new customers. Our goal is to help you expand your platform by using our platform. And as you know, you can tell from, Vanessa and my conversation and with Cathy that, we're super networkers. And so to be able to help your business expand by leveraging our platform in addition to traditional and other types of marketing that we're working on behind the scenes at herpowerless.biz. So Her Power Plays is the community portion of our group where we host amazing speakers like Vanessa to come and share information about different topics. And our very first one I hosted, which was all about networking, because we're going into the holiday season and you're going to all these holiday parties, and it's a great opportunity to make new connections. But a lot of people miss out on those opportunities because they don't realize how they can really leverage them. So that was our first networking. And Talisha, Scope Scribe, was actually the moderator for me to be able to focus on my content. So Scope Scribe, Talisha is an amazing, Scope Scribe, throw up some signs or something. We do it, what we do on Periscope. Do that here, whatever y'all do on Blab, so people know it's you. If you ever are doing an event like this online and you want to have a moderator, you want to have a quote unquote scribe, Scope Scribe is that person, because what she does is she makes sure that your audience doesn't miss any of the information. If you saw, she put up Vanessa's link to the TEDx talk on YouTube. She put up Vanessa's information. She put up my information. She puts up my hashtags. We're not paying her to do that right now. Now, that is something that she does get paid to do, but that is something that she's doing right now because she's awesome. But I'm telling you that as a brand, as we're talking about, there's always a learning opportunity. And when you're doing these blabs and these periscopes, there is a branding opportunity for you to get in front of a new audience. And so to have someone who's in the comments, who's moderating comments, who's putting up your hashtags and your website and things that you're saying that your audience may not be catching. If you're giving tips and bullet points, that's what Scope Scribe does. So my commercial for Scope Scribe is done, but that's what we do. She didn't pay me to do that. That's Tribe. That's how you build community. Thank you all for being here. Her Power Plays for the first time on Blab. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think, if we should do this on Blab for the rest of the month. Coming up next week, we have Shanita. Ask Shanita. She will be talking about turning your passion into income, the key steps to monetize your talent. We have Jay Stone, who's talking about branding, and we have Courtney Herring, who's talking about Facebook ads on Fleek. So for the next 3 Tuesdays, that is what we will be bringing your way. You can head over to Her Power Hustle, at Her Power Hustle on Twitter, and herpowerlist.biz to find out more information. I would love to hear from you if you have any questions. This was cool, Vanessa. Vanessa tricked me into doing a blab, y'all.
I think I'm going to keep tricking you into stuff.
So you guys, my sister power hustlers, Hustlers. We do have a Facebook group for women entrepreneurs, side hustlers, multi-passionate multipreneurs. We are called the Sister Power Hustlers on Facebook. If you'd like to join our group, it's an amazing community where we help each other, provide resources. It's not all about selling into the group. It's about growth and growing and economic development. All of that in Sister Power Hustlers. You can head over to herpowerhustle.com/Facebook. Stacy, I would love to see you there. It'd be awesome for you to join us. Come on over. So thank you all for joining, and let me know if we should do this on Blab next week instead of Google Hangout. So, you guys tell me what you think.
So, Michelle, two things as we sign off. Not only do I think you should continue your series on Blab, but I also think that you and I should start our own bi-weekly Blab talk show. So let's talk about that. And we want to include all of the ladies that are on this Blab that hung in with us this late. They are going to be on the slate as our first guest. How's that?
That sounds good. Stacy, you need to hit us up because she has a Blab on Thursday afternoons at 3 about social work. You need to connect with Jackie O'Nappy. Did Jackie get off? Jackie is a mental health care professional. Come over to a Sister Power Hustler, Stacy, so I can put you and Jackie O'Nappy in touch with each other. Jackie is a mental health professional here in South Florida. Let me get you guys in contact with each other. But Stacy says she has a Blab on social work issues at 3 o'clock, I guess Eastern time maybe, on Blab. And yes, do we have a link for what, Stacy? For the Sister Power Hustlers? Sister Power Hustlers, if you go to herpowerhustle.com, I'm putting it in now, herpowerhustle.com/Facebook, or search Sister Power Hustlers on Facebook. You'll come right into the group, either of those ways. Yes, Vanessa, you know we all do whatever you tell us to do. So I guess I'll be hosting the daggone, but I barely turn on my Periscope.
I'm so glad that I have this effect on people.
Oh my gosh. She gets us to do whatever she wants us to do. We do her bidding. It's 3 p.m. Central Time on Thursdays. Gotcha, Stacy. Come on over to Her Power Hustle, Sister Power Hustlers. Thank you, June. Taj Cosmetic. Thank you.
So I'm gonna go through after we end. This will be this Blab will be recorded and preserved.
Yep.
And Michelle will send out the link, or it is actually going to be on Twitter. But Michelle, if you send out the link, I think I can go back in and follow everyone that's here. I'm not sure how that's done, but we'll see. But okay. I'm definitely going to follow everyone that's here. And if there's anyone that's still here that needs assistance with establishing their social media strategy for their small business, if you're a solo entrepreneur, check out my website, vrmatics.com. That's what we specialize in. And oh, by the way, I have a growing, very amazing employment group on Facebook called Get Hired. If you all know anyone that is looking for employment anywhere in the country, please have them subscribe to Get Hired on Facebook. And I will be happy to help them network into their next job, because that's how it's done.
Word. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you next week, I guess, on Blab.
Yes. Yay, Blab.
All right, you guys. We'll talk to you soon, Vanessa.
Bye,
thank
everybody.
you. As always, love you, love you, love you, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Night, night.